Welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about tomatoes. I moved down to the San Diego area about 2005, and every year since I've been here I've always had some kind of a garden. And one of the things that we've always had a problem with is just the regular red tomatoes, the hybrid tomatoes. The plant will grow, you'll get a few tomatoes on it, it might get some kind of a disease, they don't form well, they die, and you hardly ever get any. So about 6 years ago, my wife and I were up in Ojai, and I went to a farmer's market and was looking around, and I was talking to one of the guys about having problems, and I bought a organic little tomato plant, a Sun Gold hybrid cherry tomato plant. And he said, try this, it might work better. So I brought it back home, put it out here in the backyard, left it in the pot, and it never really grew. It looked like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. Had a few little tomatoes on it, and then a tomato worm got to it, ate all the leaves off the whole plant, and I think maybe we got one tomato. And so I pulled it out, threw it on the ground, didn't worry about it. So the following spring I'm in the yard and I'm doing weeds, and one day I'm picking weeds, and we have a lot of rocks in the backyard for cover, and I'm picking weeds really fast, and as I picked one I thought, man, that looked like a tomato. Nah, it couldn't have been. It's about a week later, I'm doing the same thing, picking weeds, and I go to pull it out, and I go, no, that's a tomato plant. So I left it alone. Well, later in the yard, in the rocks, which is why we call these things rock tomatoes now, up through the yard came these little tomato plants. And I had no idea where they were coming from. So quite a few of them came up, left them alone, started to water them, and it turns out that they were derivatives of the plant that had come from Ojai that hardly grew, but the seeds or birds or whatever blew them around the yard, and they were very, very prolific as far as how they grew and how much tomatoes they gave us, and very easy, low maintenance. The rabbits don't touch them, the rats don't touch them, and so now for the last 6 years I've had these tomatoes that come up on their own out of the rocks all over the yard, and also within about a 2.5 block area of our house. They come up in the neighbors' yards without being watered or anything else. And at the end of this video, you'll see some pictures of the volunteers that have come up in the neighbor's yard. You'll see the ones that I have this year that I'm going to leave to grow. I give a lot of them away now. I put them in a planter box. I send them to friends. And so it's really been enjoyable, the amount of joy that we've gotten out of this. And it's just one of these things that you wouldn't have never guessed that from that little tiny sad plant that we've been fed tomatoes and a lot of fun for over 6 years. So after this, you'll see some of the stuff that I've taken pictures of over the years of how many tomatoes these things get giant, the plants do, and very low maintenance. So here's the rest of the story of rock tomatoes. So around the yard, these are the tomatoes I'm going to keep this year that have come up on their own. And they always come up in different spots. Some are not too opportunistic, so I pull them out or replant them. These ones here will be okay. This is actually one right here, right between where I just shot the video. There's another one right there. We've got quite a few coming up along here. We have a whole bunch coming up back here. And also they're coming up all over in the garden. Here's some of the ones that I've replanted, and these are the ones that I'll put in a pot and give to friends when they want one of the tomato plants. This is a couple of them that came up in my herb box, which is actually also George's garden, who's our pet grasshopper, and I'll have a segment on him to follow after this video.